Over the years, I've gotten a lot of messages from people who are interested in moving to Japan and getting into the fitness space, either as personal trainers or group fitness instructors or even physiotherapists. So this video is for you. If you've ever messaged me saying, hey, can you do a video about becoming a personal trainer? This is that video. If you're interested in finding a personal trainer, especially one who speaks English, or finding a gym where you can be accommodated in English, that video is coming soon, so make sure to subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you know when it drops. Okay, so let's imagine you don't live in Japan, but you're interested in moving here and you're not sure how to get started with your personal training / fitness business. I'm going to tell you how I did it and how you can do it too. So basically, I moved here in 2009, and my plan was to teach English for 7 months to a year before moving back to the States and becoming a lawyer. So after teaching English in Nagoya for about a year and 3 months, I moved to Tokyo, stopped teaching English, and immediately jumped into the freelance space. I moved to Tokyo when I was 23, so freelancing and making very little money was fine with me because honestly I was so wrapped up in partying and getting used to Tokyo, making friends, chasing girls, all that stuff we do in our early 20s when you move to a new place. So I've been in the fitness space now for about 10 years, and I spent 8 of those years working as a personal trainer. So how I got started was basically I found a DJ friend of mine, DJ Vivid, shout out to you, who helped me build my first website. So that same friend, Mikey, aka DJ Vivid, then became my first client. I had just gotten my ISSA online certification, which basically means I spent a couple $100s in a book, studied for a test, took an online open book test, which is not particularly credible, but it worked. Then I officially got into the fitness space in 2011 springtime. Mikey became my first client, and through working with him, I then worked with this other mutual friend, a guy named Chris. We worked together, and then clients just started to accumulate. So I went from 0 clients and basically 0 money, except for the very little money I was making by freelance modeling and promoting and doing other random stuff in the city, to having a whole bunch of different clients and actually working at a facility in the city where I realized that there was so much more to be had in the personal training space. I just wasn't familiar with it. So if you do have the opportunity to work somewhere, I'd encourage you to explore that route. But to keep it really simple, I then worked for a total of 8 years as a personal trainer, and now the past 2.5, almost 3 years, exclusively as an online health and fitness coach. So anyways, that's my long story, but for you, you're interested in moving to Japan, you want to get into the fitness space, you're wondering how to do it. Keep it real simple. Right now, not possible. Japan's borders are still not open. Unless you have a visa to come here and live/work, you cannot enter the country. But once the border does open, basically this is how you can do it. Number 1, you need to make sure you get some kind of work visa. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be teaching English, you could be working in finance, you could be a recruiter, an attorney, doesn't matter. If you know you're interested in coming here and getting into the fitness space because that's just what you want to do, you can make that happen. But first and foremost, you have to get some kind of work visa. And obviously, if you come here to teach English, that doesn't necessarily mean your visa is going to allow you to work as a personal trainer. But the reality is, if you choose to work as a personal trainer, you can approach it in 2 different ways, basically. One is as a freelance trainer, where you're essentially training people for cash in hand. 2 is where you work at some kind of facility as either a staff member, personal trainer, physiotherapist, whatever. And although either option is viable, the freelance option doesn't really require that you have any valid visa to do so. Meaning, when you work as a freelance personal trainer, the money you make and the work you do is essentially unknown by the government. So it doesn't really matter if you have a visa in something completely unrelated and you choose to freelance personal train or teach yoga or whatever you choose to do. On the other side, it's a little bit different. If you want your visa to be tied to the work you do in the fitness space, that's a bit more complex, and essentially it means you'll either need to find employment somewhere or you'll need to basically start your own company. There are other special circumstances, and maybe in a future video, if you're really interested, I'll dive into it, where you can essentially have clients pay taxes and make it work in terms of getting your own visa in that space. But honestly, if you're a foreigner, the government doesn't really want a bunch of people moving here to work as personal trainers because they want Japanese people to do that. So it's unlikely you're going to get that kind of visa unless you really are a kind of specialist. I have a few friends who have pulled off the specialist thing, but again, it's pretty hard to do, and I don't recommend that route. I recommend getting a visa in anything and then getting into the space, or getting employed full-time by some company that's going to be able to sponsor your visa. There are a few companies in the city that can do so, but honestly, there aren't many foreign-owned gym businesses in Tokyo And there aren't that many gyms in general, even Japanese owned, that need native English speakers to work in their facility because frankly, the overwhelming majority of people are Japanese and would typically prefer to work with a native Japanese speaker. So to keep it simple, number one, get a visa. Number two, I recommend you get some kind of personal training certificate. Again, if you go the freelance route, technically it doesn't matter. But if you go the employment route, you will have to have some kind of qualification or credentials in order to get a job in that space. And again, this relates more to, for example, being a yoga instructor or physiotherapist or something like that, where you actually need a degree or proper certificate. On the personal training side, it's much more loose, and frankly, there are probably at this stage thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who are kind of just winging it, potentially without even being certified in anything, because we live in a world dominated by social media where if you look the part, you can play the part. I don't really agree with it, but it is what it is, and so that's the truth. Again, number one, get your visa. Number two, get some kind of certificate that allows you to practice whatever you're going to practice. And then number three is just to start finding clients. You can do this online by utilizing platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. Or you can do this in person by basically just going to the places where the kinds of clients you'd like to work with would be. Realistically, having an online presence is going to be imperative in order for you to pick up new clients. And again, if you go the freelance route, technically the sky's the limit. People just need to know that you do what you do and have enough faith in you and your practice to work with you. Again, I now work as a health and performance coach. All the work I do is exclusively online, and I've been doing this long enough in the city to have worked with a lot of different people. So, recap, get a visa, number one. Number two, get some kind of certificate for whatever it is you want to practice. And then number three is just start finding clients. Really, working as a personal trainer, especially on the freelance side, is a grind. You're going to start with 0 clients and very, very little money, and you're just going to have to work from there. The employment route is a lot more secure, obviously. Getting a job will mean that you have some kind of base salary, but to each his own. I went the freelance route, and then while I was freelancing, got employed for about 1.5 years while I continued freelancing, and then I left employment, started my own company, and now I do what I do. So if I could go back and change anything with regard to being a health and fitness professional in Tokyo, the only thing I would change would have been to get experience earlier from people who know what they're doing. So in my case, that was working at that facility because frankly, I was around other people who had experience and knew a lot more than I did, and it was invaluable to spend time with those people, learning what they knew so that I could help clients better achieve the results they were trying to achieve. When I first started, I kind of thought that I knew it all, which I think most early trainers / fitness people do. But then I quickly realized that I know very little. And even now, 10 years into this journey, I realize there's still a lot that I don't know. And I'm still actively learning through reading, experiences with new clients, and new certifications. So I can't overemphasize the significance of getting education and hands-on experience. But arguably even better than hands-on experience is mentorship from those who know better than you do. Having somebody help you be better and avoid the pitfalls that they and probably lots of other people went through before you make those same mistakes is an amazing fast track to success in whatever your respective industry. So if you have questions about how to become a personal trainer, yoga instructor, physiotherapist, etc. here in Tokyo, please drop them in the comments or find me on Instagram, shoot me a DM. I'm totally happy to help. I've had numerous conversations with dozens of different people who have asked me how I got started. And so hopefully this video is helpful for those of you who are interested in moving to Tokyo and getting into health and fitness space. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video, feel free to share it. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.